It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, you want to rock and roll? Driving on the highway, going to a show. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, getting a bone, getting high, getting shook. I'll show you folks, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. Ladies in the room, one night stands. Try playing a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and welcome to another installment of the 2005 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We are here from Darlington for the Mtn Dew Southern 500, race number 25 of 36 of this season's calendar as we take you trackside to get a look at your starting lineup for tonight's race. Starting on pole for today is going to be Ryan Newman in the 12 car, followed by Kevin Harvick in second place on the outside. Looking down the rest of the grid, Kyle Busch in the 19 will be in third place, and Terry Labonte will be starting in fourth in the 44 car. Fifth place goes to Scott Wimmer in the 23, and Ricky Hendrick, your points leader, will be starting in sixth. Seventh goes to Matt Kenseth in the 17, and eighth will be Robbie Gordon in the 31, winner of the Busch race this Saturday. Ninth will be Kurt Busch in the 01, and Mark Martin will start in 10th. Don Thompson Jr. will be starting this race in 11th position, and Michael Waltrip qualifies in 12th. A good qualifying run for those two. Bobby Labonte will be in 13th place, and Christian Elder will start in 14th. Todd Bodine will round out the top 15, and Casey Kane starts side by side with him in 16th place. John Andretti in the 43 car will be in 17th place, and John Wood starts in the 18th position. Carl Edwards will be in 19th, and Greg Biffle rounds out three Roush cars in a row in 20th. Chad Little will start in 21st, and Jeff Gordon will be starting from 22nd position. Dave Blaney in 23rd, and Sterling Marlin will be in 24th. Jeff Burton will start in 25th, and Jamie McMurray from 26th place. Johnny Sauter qualifies in 27th, Kenny Wallace in the 28th spot. 29th goes to Mike Bliss, and David Green will be in the 30th. 31st goes to Tony Stewart in the 20, and Scott Riggs will start in 32nd. Brian Vickers will be in the 33rd spot, and Jeremy Mayfield in 34th. Eric Norris will start this race from the 35th spot, and Casey Atwood qualifies in 36th. Buckshot Jones will be starting in 37th position, and David Runeman in 38th. 39th goes to Dale Earnhardt Jr., and 40th will be Robert Presley in the 07, and the final row will be Joe Nemechek in the 71, and Dale Jarrett in the 88. 111 laps here from Darlington. We take you trackside for the most famous words in motorsports, for the command for the drivers to fire their engines up for this long race.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines are fired here from Darlington. This racetrack, one of the most unique on the calendar, without a shadow of a doubt. A long race in this one. By lap count, it'll be 111, expecting a long one here tonight, and a race of endurance. This race usually produces a lot of crashes, a lot of chances for drivers to have to avoid incidents in this show. But nonetheless, it is a challenging racetrack, and we've had a lot of grueling races as of late. And this one will be no different. Along with Bristol being the race before this one. Again, 111 laps today. Ryan Newman on the pole. Kevin Harvick will start second. Taking a look at your championship battle, it is going to be Ricky Hendrick in first place in the championship after a poor race from the 01 of Kurt Busch last week, as he leads the 01 team by 66 points going into today's race. Casey Kane sits third in the championship still, an outsider looking in. He's 112 back, and with Tony Stewart collecting his 5th win of the season last week, sits just 119 behind in 4th place, and those are your 4 drivers within a race's worth of points of the championship lead. But things could change here today, with this race being anybody's game and a race of survival for sure. Pace car going to peel off. As we said, 111 laps here today, as Newman will lead the field into the restart box for the green here from Darlington for the Southern 500. Contact in the back there. That was Greg Biffle in the wall off of his teammate. Looking like everybody kept it clean, but maybe not for long. That was a 6 of Wood and 16 of Biffle in the wall off of turn 2. Somehow nobody's gone around yet as they leave turn 4 and complete the first lap. Tony Stewart was caught back in that mess in the 20 car. Going to get a look at that one on the first lap of this race, as it looks like John Wood in the 6 got the wall there in turn 4. Biffle trying to slip through and went into the wall, but managed to save it without scaring his teammate, the 99 of Jeff Burton, down the racetrack. First couple laps completed here, as it is now Kyle Busch out front, with Newman losing the lead to the number 19 car. Get a look at how that pass for the lead was made, as Busch goes underneath in turn 1. Outside, not fast at all at this racetrack, as Newman slips backwards. Kevin Harvick, who started in second, is not even within the top 10 by this point. So a lot of shiftings early in the running here. Kurt Busch already all the way up and into the 3rd spot. Scott Wimmer runs second in the 23 to that 19 of Kyle Busch. A couple of dodges out front early in the running, as we head down the backstretch. Everything clean throughout the field so far. Everybody kept it together. And never mind, as Jamie McMurray is around there off of turn number 4. Caution flag is going to come out as the 40 gets spin. Right as I said, everybody had it under control. We are going to have our first early yellow as we leave turn number 4 and take the caution flag, as Kyle Busch has the lead. Incident involving the 40 of McMurray here. Looks like it was the 28 of Chad Little in the wall that time, and McMurray could not quite keep it off of him and forced to lock it down. Goes for a long, long slide, but no further damage to him, as we take the first caution flag of the day, and early pit stops are going to take place here, although one of the championship leaders, Casey Kane, is going to stay out on the racetrack to take the race lead and grab a lap letter 3 here. Kyle Busch leads the field down pit road for the first round of pit stops under yellow here. Three dodges in the lead of this race, as it was Kurt Busch in 3rd behind these two, the 23 and 19. As they head into their pit boxes here. And it will be 4 tires for both the 23 and 19, as well as pretty much everybody else. Yeah, absolutely nobody else taking any tires, although the 22 car of Sterling Marlin is blowing up in the pit lane. And that is going to be the end of his day, as drivers are looking to try to find a way around him as he just crawls out of the pits. Winner of the race off of pit road is going to be that 19 car of Kyle Busch. And Casey Kane will stay out to inherit the lead. We take you to intermission early here from Darlington with that first yellow and the 38 out front. Back from intermission real quick here at Darlington. Casey Kane will be your race leader. As we mentioned, stayed out under that caution. Only 4 laps completed, and the 38 will take the lead, opting to stay out on the old stuff. Everybody else takes 4. Kyle Busch in the 19 will be starting from second after winning the race off pit road. Scott Wimmer in third. Fourth is Kurt Busch, and Bobby Labonte will start in the 5th position. Vickers, Gordon, Waltrip, Newman, and Kenseth round out your top 10. Bit of a wacky top 10 early in the running, but nonetheless, pace car will peel off, and Casey Kane off of turn number 4 will lead the field to the green here, coming to lap number 9 as he heads into the restart box. And we are back underway as the 38 gets a good jump, as does the 19. Bit of a slow start for Wimmer in the 23 as they get down into turn number 1. Top group stays single file, and for good reason. Rounding turn number 2 as everybody gets back up to speed. Kyle Busch on the fresher tires going to look to challenge Kane for the lead. Had to back off in the mid-corner a little bit there as everybody's bumper to bumper. He's got a swarm of Dodges behind him for the lead, and Busch is going to immediately jump down low for first. Kurt Busch trying to capitalize and get around Wimmer as Kane trying to keep it up on the outside, but at the bottom so dominant here. Kyle Busch quickly deals away with the 38 and is up into first as brother Kurt follows behind in second place. Kane slipping back down the order now, trying to find his way back onto the bottom. He will be clear in front of the 25 of Vickers. Down the front stretch now as they race into turn number 1. 19:01:18, your top 3 as they break away a little bit. Wimmer now in 4th, and Kane rounding out the top 5. Front row drivers in the form of Newman and Harvick fighting for position now. As the 29 will get underneath, Brian Vickers slips backwards. Into 7th place is Waltrip in the 00. And Todd Bodine in the 26 enters the top 10 as Vickers gets the wall. Not a great place for that. Newman gets a piece of him, but Vickers holds onto it, as does the 12. Tough spot for the 25 to be in the wall, as he will continue to fall backwards, still stuck on that outside line. Falling into the clutches of the outside of the top 15 now. Kyle Busch still holding the lead. The top 4 under a blanket as the 01, 18, and 23 all sit in line with the 19 car. Kane sits in now what is P6 as he has fallen behind the 31 of Robbie Gordon. Tires looking to play a factor here as Kane really not having a whole lot of pace at the moment, but holding on with track position at the moment. Meanwhile, the 01 of Kurt Busch has taken away the race lead from his brother Kyle. One of the championship leaders out front. Busch looking to make up some points again after a bit of a slipping backwards in last week's race at Bristol. And the 5 of Ricky Hendrick, your current championship leader, mired back in the middle of the pack. He runs 23rd at the moment, so a good run for the 01, putting Hendrick under a bit of pressure right now. And with Kane also still slipping backwards, it's working out for the 01 at the moment, but still a tight battle for this race lead as Busch sits not too far in front of his brother Kyle and Bobby Labonte in the 18, not far off of these two either. In fact, right behind the 19. He's going to try to slip under him here. Busch will chop the nose down off of turn number 2, trying to get around him is Labonte. Couldn't find a way around that time. Stays in line with the 19. First lengthy run we've seen today. A lot of interesting faces in the back end of this top 10, as well as further up front. Again, Scott Wimmer having a really good run early in this race. Sits in 4th, ran 2nd to Kyle Busch for a little while. Everything in the back working out fine so far. McMurray finding it a struggle to pick up spots. Jeff Gordon also mired a long way in the back of the pack with damage on the right side of his DuPont Chevrolet. So a lot of drivers dealing with Darlington stripes here so far, and not a surprise at all given the nature of this racetrack. Casey Kane in the 38 all the way down to 16th place now. Pit stop cannot come soon enough for the 38 car as we stay green on the racetrack. Top 3 still right up against each other with Bobby Labonte still piling the pressure on Kyle Busch, but Busch piling the pressure on Kurt for the lead as the 19 will go back down low. Dodge is looking to swap the lead once again. And younger brother Kyle is backing into 1st, and Bobby Labonte takes advantage. He'll slip past the 01 and into 2nd, right behind the 19, who he's been given a mirrorful of the entire run so far. Down off of turn number 4 as the 18 had a run but couldn't quite take it anywhere. Here's Kurt Busch trying to retake 2nd place. Robbie Gordon also joins this top group. He moves into 3rd. As Kurt now right behind the 19 again off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. Going to be 20 laps completed this time by. Busch going to try to jump underneath. Kyle blocks him. Busch going to have to back off. And Kyle stays in front off of turn number 4. That opens the door for Robbie Gordon to try to contend with the 01 for 2nd. Busch v. Gordon, and Robbie Gordon into 2nd place. As we mentioned, dominated last Saturday's race, or this Saturday's race, I should say. Last race in the Busch Series, running in the 21. Won his 6th Busch race of the season. Hasn't won in Cup in a while, trying to bring home a checkered flag. But still a long way to go, and the 19 still in front of him. Scott Wimmer moved into 3rd. Now Kurt Busch trying to make another swap with him off of turn number 4. And he'll slip on through. Bobby Labonte as well will move into 4th again. Another update on Kane as the 38 continues to fall backwards. He's as low as 18th now, despite starting this last run in the lead. And his lap times continuing to be uncompetitive with the older tires continuing to shred on him. Fallen almost all the way into the clutches of the 5 of Ricky Hendrick, who has moved into the 19th position. Still a long way to go for the 5, with Kurt Busch up and in the mix for the race lead at the moment. But as of right now, it is just 19 and 31. And Robbie Gordon underneath in turn 1 and very quickly makes it look easy trying to get around the 19 of Kyle Busch and immediately slots into the lead. Nobody close enough to get back past for 2nd place as the 31 will take 1st and Busch falls a bit of a ways back into 2nd. Carl Edwards has been on a hard charge so far in this run as he has moved right up to the back bumper of the 23 of Wimmer. That's for 5th place right in front of him. Down the backstretch still, most of these guys not terribly far apart, but Robbie Gordon comfortably in the lead at the moment as Kyle Busch tries to recoup after losing that top spot to the 31. But instead, Bobby Labonte's going to go underneath for 2nd. And Kurt Busch will also pass his brother. He moves into 3rd. It's the battle of being in the right place at the right time. Now Kurt Busch underneath Bobby Labonte for 2nd. Labonte trying to hang tight. Down the front stretch and into turn 1, but Kurt Busch with the advantageous line moves into 2nd, Busch to 3rd, Wimmer into 4th, and Carl Edwards going to try to take away 5th place as Labonte about to lose 4 positions in one corner, and does, drops all the way down to 6th. Battle for that 9th spot was between Andretti and Bodine as the 43 moves up a position. Looking through the back end of the field still as Jamie, where was McMurray? I might have scrolled past him. Still back there and with right side damage, so both him and Jeff Gordon mired a long way back, still outside the top 30 by a considerable margin as well. Kane's tough go around this run continues. He's dropped all the way to 24th position, praying to get to that pit stop and maybe make up some time on the short pit given how hard it is to pass at this racetrack. Robbie Gordon still comfortably out front, has a significant lead over 2nd place Kurt Busch. Brother Kyle sits in 3rd, Wimmer in 4th, and Carl Edwards rounds out the top 5 as Labonte's dropped a little bit of a ways off that 97 for 5th. The top 6 a long way ahead of Kevin Harvick and Ryan Newman, who both started this race on the front row. "30 laps completed here from Darlington." We've seen a variety of leaders so far in this race as the 38 of Kane finally makes it to the first pit window, just past, or just prior for him, to that lap 30 margin as he is into the pit lane and going to be hoping to make use of those fresh tires. Long wait in the pits, as a matter of fact, for the 38. Yeah, a bit of problems there. I'm assuming getting some damage repairs for the right side, so Kane really struggling so far today. Another tough day for one of the championship contenders who needed a good day today, especially with Kurt Busch running up front. It's looking tough for him. But a long way yet to go in this thing, and expecting the rest of the field to come in a handful of laps here, given that Kane only was out for about 4 laps longer. Can expect your race leaders to be making their first pit stops of this race around 35-36. And Kane has rejoined the track, now going to try his best to make use of the fresh tires. And at the very least, looking like he's going to just want to stay on the lead lap. Robbie Gordon, 8/10 lead over Kurt Busch in the 01 car, who trails not too far behind right now. And looking like it is going to be... No, Casey Kane in the 38 car is losing a motor now. And that is going to be a caution. Bad day gone worse as Kane loses his engine immediately after making that pit stop. He's going to stop on the racetrack. Caution flag comes out as we are under yellow for the first time here today. And that'll let everybody else pit in under caution. Robbie Gordon will lead the field in. 25 of Brian Vickers was in the pit lane right when the yellow came out, so he will be receiving lucky dog here. Carl Edwards stays out on the racetrack, as does Ricky Hendrick. Interesting, these guys are going to go a little longer on this pit stop. But Robbie Gordon leads the field in. And that is going to be Casey Kane's day with that engine going out. That is just a tough, tough, tough break for the 38 car, who just cannot seem to catch a break at this tumultuous point in the season. It is an important section of the calendar around now. This is where the final championship push starts, and Kane, nothing doing with the engine failure. And Robbie Gordon will leave the pit lane in first. We are under caution here. Take you to intermission here with the 31 presumably going to be the leader here, as these three who stayed out are going to be pitting in their time, one time late on the pit cycle here. Interesting call, especially for Ricky Hendrick, your points leader. But we'll take you to intermission. Be right back here from Darlington. Back from intermission here at Darlington. Robbie Gordon, your race leader in the 31. Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Scott Wimmer, and Bobby Labonte will be your top five. Not a whole lot of change there. Kevin Harvick will start in 6th, Todd Bodine from 7th, Andretti 8th, Newman 9th, and Dave Blaney will round out the top 10. And as we expected, the 97, 5, and 51 all pitted a lap late there. Interesting call from the 5 and the 51, given that they are not going to lead the lap since Edwards stayed out to lead that lap. We'll be back green here as the 31 car of Robbie Gordon leads us to the green. Back underway. Back up through the gears and through 1 and 2. It's a good start for the race leader, but an even better one for Kurt Busch, who looks low down the backstretch. And he's going to get underneath the 31 into turn number 3. And Kurt Busch on the bottom, but Robbie Gordon with a big run on the top side, and the 31 stays in front off of turn number 4. Big battle ensues behind. Tony Stewart taking advantage. 23 and 18 up the track as Bobby Labonte is going to get a piece of the wall. No traffic on the bottom, so he stays out of further trouble. Everybody else staying in control in the back. Off of turn number 4 and down the front stretch. Kevin Harvick trying to move into third past Kyle Busch in the 19 into turn 1, but Busch hanging strong, but couldn't quite clear him. Had to get out of the throttle to keep it out of the fence. Contact between Wimmer and Bodine. That's for 5th. Very nearly resulted in a spin off of turn 2. Off of turn 4 and down the front stretch again as Robbie Gordon stays comfortably in the lead. Kurt Busch, after that failed attack for the lead, having to try to close back up now. Kyle Busch trying to mount a counterattack on Harvick. That's for 3rd as they enter turn number 3. But to no avail as Harvick gets back clear on the outside. Busch again with a run, this time out of turn 4, looking towards the better end of the racetrack to make this move, and Kyle Busch will get past him as Wimmer now gets underneath. That's for 4th. And Bodine for 5th. 26 gets past. Andretti into 6th place as Harvick's going to continue to slip backwards here, maybe. Yeah, a little loose on that top side. Tough to keep it up there, but not too bad of an effort if Andretti can just stay on the inside into turn 1, though. But he did not. Big train back here, thanks to this battle up in front of these guys. Harvick trying to get back past Bodine for 5th place. That top side kind of coming strong on that turn 4 exit later in this race. Although I don't think Bodine's going to get clear with the help from the 43, and he will not. So Harvick moves into 5th again. 6 goes to Andretti in the 43 as Bodine will slip backwards now. Kyle Busch in 2nd over the 01 now. But Robbie Gordon still comfortably out front. Definitely knows a thing or two about this racetrack. Stewart underneath Newman. This is for 7th now. As Pat continuing to be very racy, even despite breaking up a little bit after the train earlier. Newman now falling into the clutches of Labonte, who got the wall a handful of laps ago. 18 unable to completely mount that move, and Newman gets back past him on the outside. Kyle Busch has closed the gap to the 31. Since Gordon's taken away that lead, nobody has been able to touch him so far today. But that could change here in a moment, as Busch will get underneath him into turn 3, side by side for the lead. And Kyle Busch makes quick work of him, although Robbie Gordon not giving up yet. A big run on the outside. Dead heat at the line. Busch had the nod. But he's going to get him now and takes his brother with him on the inside. 1901 into 1st and 2nd once again. Kurt Busch not making it easy for his younger brother. He gets underneath for the lead now, and the 01 takes 1st place again. Busch with a really shaky corner entry with his older brother side by side with him, almost lost it, and falls behind the 31. Will stay in front of Wimmer. That will be in 3rd place for the 19, as Wimmer stays P4. Stewart, another driver who's picked up a lot of spots in this run. One of the outside championship contenders, looking like he's going to pick up some points if things run how they are at the moment. Looking back down the rest of the grid, Ricky Hendrick is up as far as 27th. That's as far as he's been able to get so far. It's been an outside the top 20 day for Ricky Hendrick most of tonight. And he's just continued to struggle to find a way through this pack, and especially after that earlier strategy call, it's been tough for him. Edwards as well, a long way back. He's in 35th. Scott Wimmer moved into third ahead of Kyle Busch. That 23 has been sneaky fast today. Had to get out of the throttle to not get into Kurt Busch there off of turn 2, but Wimmer has been scary fast in tonight's race. That thing might have race-winning speed. He just needs to be in the right spot at the right time, and he could capitalize. Wimmer hasn't won a race since his Daytona 500 victory. That one coming in 2004. Two-time Cup Series winner, once at Daytona and once at Talladega. Knows his way around the plate tracks, but has had a couple strong runs at some of the more difficult racetracks, and here at Darlington has proven himself to be a formidable opponent on the racetrack today. Has a run on Kurt Busch. He's going to try to take second place, and Busch is going to yield real quick as the 23 moves into second. Wimmer having a career night right now. Got just one car in front of him for the lead. Robbie Gordon, who's dominated this race so far, emerged as the best car on the racetrack. And it will be halfway in this race at the line. Robbie Gordon in first place, led the majority of the laps in tonight's race. It's been 37 minutes up to this point. And Gordon is cruising, but hasn't been without a fight. Kurt Busch trying to counterattack on Wimmer. That's for P2 still. And he gets underneath in 3 and 4. And Kurt Busch on rails on the bottom that time through, but had to lift. Got a little sideways, and Wimmer slips right on back past on the outside and holds on to P2. Busch almost fell all the way into the clutches of Harvick for third. But Busch with another run again off of turn 2. He's going to have a second chance at it. Down to the inside. Side by side for P2 is Wimmer going to try to fend him off on the outside a second time. Couldn't do it. Wimmer got a little squirrely that time. And Kurt Busch moves past him. Now Kevin Harvick looking for third place. And he gets around him. Now Kyle for fourth. And the 19's through, and Tony Stewart's going to try to make it a yet another. Wimmer not giving up to him, though. Still side by side as they enter turn 3. Just can't quite get around him. Stewart getting a little loose. Wimmer getting a little loose. It's a pedal fest off of turn 4, but Wimmer's going to stay in front of the 20, I believe. And yes, he does. 23 stays in P5. It is a Richard Childress 1-2 now with Kevin Harvick in second place. Gordon and Harvick leading this race. Kurt Busch down to third. Kyle in fourth. A lot of movement up front except for the lead as Robbie Gordon stays comfortably in front. Check up on the 5. Ricky Hendrick, in fact, went backwards since we last checked on him. He's down to 29th, no, 30th. 5 car having a rough go-around. Kurt Busch looking primed to retake the championship lead as he runs in third with laps led on the day. race lead is 1.6 seconds as Robbie Gordon's still in control of this thing. It has not been much of a contest since about lap 20, maybe even earlier than that. Kyle Busch with a run off of turn 4. This is for second. And down to the inside as Kyle Busch will slip on through, taking his brother Kurt with him. These two have been right next to each other pretty much the entire race. And Kyle will move into second, Kurt into third. Harvick back down to fourth place. But going to try to make a re-overtake as he gets underneath Kurt for third into turn 3. Both of them fighting to get back to the gas earlier than the other, and Kurt Busch will clear on the outside. Stays in front of Harvick, despite the valiant effort. Scott Wimmer still holding a slim margin for 5th over the 20 of Tony Stewart. Harvick with another shot. Busch v. Harvick into 3 yet again. Harvick with a much better corner entry this time, and will clear him before they even get to turn 4. As Harvick's into 3rd place again. Kyle Busch is going to take the race lead, actually, as Robbie Gordon is going to pit early. That's your race leader down pit road. 31 car into the pits. Looking like really nobody else came in there. Up on the deal back here with all these guys stacked up, and now majority of the field's going to come down. Harvick, the highest car in. That was from what was P2 on the racetrack. Kyle Busch stays out another lap. And the caution flag is out as they're wrecking as Carl Edwards is around, and Atwood involved in it as well. Presley, and a lot of big hits. Oh dear. Carl Edwards goes around trying to get into the pit lane. Actually, no. Just looking like he packed the 17 of Kenseth, his teammate, into the wall. And Ricky Hendrick, your points leader, involved in it. Hefty damage to the front of that 5. And Atwood as well as Presley got some big pieces of it. Everybody okay, but a tough, tough accident. And we are back under caution, and Ricky Hendrick is in it. Under caution. A lot of cars might end up trapped a lap down here as Kyle Busch inherits the lead. But he will lead the rest of the field into the pit lane here. And into the pits, number 19 of Kyle Busch from first place here. Triple dodges in the top 3 after that mishap coming into the pits with Edwards going around, and Robbie Gordon, your dominant race car, should get waved around but will be mired back in the pack thanks to this yellow flag. You can see Ricky Hendrick there as well in the 5. Not with a hood anymore. We'll see if that thing can meet minimum speed. 4 tires and fuel for the 19 of Kyle Busch. And the race off of pit road, he stays in front of brother Kurt's top 3 and top 4, as a matter of fact, remains unchanged. Take it at intermission. Kyle Busch, your race leader after pit cycles. He sits in the first spot in that number 19 car. We'll be right back here from Darlington. Back here from Darlington as Kyle Busch has the race lead in the 19 car. And after that field mix-up, yet again, Kurt Busch will be in second. Scott Wimmer starts from third, Tony Stewart in fourth, and John Andretti rounds out your top five. Wallace, Little, Jr., Labonte, and Mayfield. The remainder of the top 10 here as we round turn number 4. Kyle Busch leads the field into the restart box, and we are back green yet again here from Darlington. Great start from the top 2 that time as Wimmer was yet again caught sleeping. Been a bit of a weak spot from him today. Stewart looking to capitalize early. He gets underneath the 23 out of turn 2. And Busch on Busch for the race lead as Kyle goes underneath, and Kyle Busch into the wall. Excuse me, Kurt underneath. Busch in the fence off of turn 4. Not a great spot. Everybody's going to find a way around him for the most part. And Kyle Busch drops way backwards there. Almost makes contact and does with Chad Little. Chaos in the midfield as Busch continues to fall backwards. Very nearly spun himself out there in turn number 1. Looking like he's almost going to fall out of the top 10 now as Kurt Busch takes the lead. Dave Blaney way out of line there in turn 1. And he's going to get the wall now. Look out, everybody stays out of line. Goodness me. Pandemonium in the midfield right now. And further back as well. Down the front stretch, Busch has fallen all the way back to 7th. Meanwhile, brother Kurt way out in front of this thing now. Ricky Hendrick in the 5 has stayed in the pack, but is all the way back in 36th place without a hood. And that was very nearly disastrous for a lot of people in a lot of different moments. Kenny Wallace has moved all the way into 3rd in the 2 car. Chad Little into 4th in that mix-up. Kyle Busch still trying to recoup. He's in 7th place. He's going to get underneath Wimmer for 6th. Wimmer trying to fight strong on the outside. Dead heat down the backstretch and into turn 3 between these 2 Dodges. Kyle Busch, no, still not quite clear as Wimmer's got the big run on the outside. We've seen a lot of that in the second half of this race. But Busch is going to leave him behind now as they enter turn 1. This is the spot where the bottom matters. On corner entry into turn 1, he moves into 6th. Tony Stewart for the lead. Couldn't stay there. Stewart has already won back-to-back races earlier this season, trying to do it again and capture what would be his 6th victory on the year. But Kurt Busch trying to fend him off, and Busch himself looking for his 3rd. Kenny Wallace lurking in 3rd place, has not won in that 2 car this year. Announced not too long ago that this campaign for sure would be his last. Whole bunch of storylines up front in this race late. 43 car is having some issues with the tires. Over the radio, bit of a vibration for Andretti. Expecting one more pit stop in this race, so they will be able to get it sorted out eventually. The 43 car runs 12th. Kenny Wallace right on the back bumper of Stewart. Will Bobby Labonte instead try to defend for his teammate? No, instead they're all going to stay in line. Wallace backs off into turn 1. Labonte cuts him some slack. And Wallace, in fact, with the run out of turn 2, gets away from the 18. Kurt Busch has been pulling away from the top spot just a little bit over the 20 of Stewart. Here's Labonte off of turn number 4. Got a run on the 2, and Chad Little lurking in the background. The 5th place car in that 28. .30 laps to go this time by here from Darlington as Wallace almost got underneath the 20 of Stewart into turn 3. Couldn't quite find the opening. Now going to try to get the run on corner exit. Oh, almost did. Had to get out of throttle. Kurt Busch a bit slow from the lead off of turn 4 that time. Here's Stewart for first place. That opens the door for Wallace, Labonte, and Little to all try to get past the 01. Down the backstretch and into turn number 3 as Busch goes from 1st to 5th in a lap. And Kenny Wallace moves into 2nd. Tony Stewart to the lead. As we mentioned, Stewart looking for another momentum-building 6th victory and put himself right in the middle of this championship fight along with Kurt Busch. Wallace is not letting that 20 of Stewart get away. He's been right there this entire time and now pulls up to him in 3 and 4. He might have a shot out of turn 4 this time down the front stretch. Wallace right on the back bumper. He was here a few laps prior. That was for 2nd, but didn't make the move that time. Doesn't make the move this time. I think Wallace is just going to lie in wait at the moment. He's got all the time in the world, but Bobby Labonte pulling up behind, and Wallace got a bit tight there mid-corner. That opens the door for Labonte in the 18. But Labonte is not going to be as patient this time. He gets underneath, and Bobby's into the 2nd spot in the 18 car. Kyle Busch has slowly been catching some ground back. He's into 6th now. Wimmer sits in 7th. Christian Elder in the 8th spot. Wimmer with a run at the 19. Doesn't take that momentum anywhere. Stewart in control late. Bobby Labonte is in the tire tracks of his teammate and running him down right now. He might have a chance to get there in just a few moments. In fact, right about now, all 3 of these guys are right under a blanket, although Stewart pulls away a little bit off of turn 4. Labonte trying to set him up at the moment. It'll be 20 to go in a couple laps. Here he comes. No, got a little tight. Had to get out of throttle. Wallace is going to leave him in 2nd. Not even going to try to make a pass. A little bit of teamwork here as Labonte gets a little bit closer there that time through 3 and 4, but doesn't have the run on corner exit. Stays behind him. Can Labonte set the 20 up? He's right there through 1 and 2. Looking like he's going to stick in line down the backstretch. Here's Kurt Busch for third. Side by side by those two. Stewart again stays in front of the 18 as Wallace with the run on corner exit, but into turn one. Kurt Busch should have him here. No, not quite, but now he does. So Busch into third place. Trying to mitigate the damage. Labonte with a run out of turn two. He's going to have a chance into three. Down to the inside. The two teammates for the lead. Labonte hard on the brakes on the inside. But Stewart is going to get back clear and run away off of turn four. 20 laps to go here in the Southern 500. Stewart pulling away from the 18. And left him in the dust that last time through. But Labonte way better by speed off of turn two that time through. Not going to let him get away at all and try to get right back up to him here. 81 car of Bliss is going to be one of the early pitters, as is Don Thompson Jr. in the 33. Kurt Busch got all the way up to Labonte into turn one. Didn't quite get side by side with him, but made his presence known by looking low, but Labonte's going to keep him in tow. Might be seeing pit stops here. We'll see. Race leaders will stay on the racetrack. Very early stops there from the 81 and 33, and we'll see how it plays out for them, especially with how much tires matter at this racetrack. These guys are over 2 seconds off their best times. Stewart and Labonte still right next to each other for this race lead. Labonte closes the gap yet again. He's right there. Kurt Busch had a pretty big run out of turn two. Got close, couldn't get underneath. Still all clear here as the 25 of Brian Vickers is in the pit lane now. Might see some two-tire stops here, a little bit of split strategy. Depends on when these guys come in. 25 took 4. Here's Kurt Busch for second. And he gets on through. And now we see some more, 26, 00, and 5, as well as the 55. And now here's Kurt Busch for the race lead. Busch right on past the 20, and the 01 is back in the race lead. Here's Labonte for P2. Gets on past. And we're going to see it. Pit stops now. Kurt Busch stays on the track. Labonte, Wallace, and Stewart are all going to come in here. Majority of the field is in. Still looking like 4 tires for everybody here. We'll see what Labonte, second place car, is going to do here. Can expect at the very least 2 tires. We'll see if we see some 2s here. Gonna be 4 for the 18. And pretty much everybody. Still taking 4 tires. Labonte is away, but the 2 and 20 are both gonna get in front of him. 01 of Kurt Busch, your race leader, is down pit road. We'll see if it's going to be 2 for the 01. And it will not. So 4 tires for everybody. And Busch is away. We'll see if he holds on to this race lead. What's the strategy going to look like? Who's going to come out where? And tell you what, the 81 and 33 are going to have the race lead. Don Thompson Jr. is your race leader. "12 laps to go at the line, and the 33 has first place. I do not believe what I'm seeing. Kenny Wallace Jr., the higher of the main race leaders, he sits in front of the 20 of Stewart. But they've got a long way to go. Almost 3 seconds if they want to surmount the lead that the 33 cars built up, but they're going to have 12 laps to do it. This is going to get interesting. Here's Stewart for what is P3. Got past him. The question is, will Bliss let his teammate go, or is he going to try to fight here? Vickers in the wall there out of turn 2. Everybody else cuts him some slack. 10 to go at the line. That gap already down to a second. Bliss stays in front of his teammate off of turn 2. And Stewart will get around Mike Bliss for second. Bliss is going to let the 2 go here. Maybe even got a little loose. Thompson Jr. is going to have to fight for his life if he wants to win this race, but I think Stewart might have it in the bag here. That 20 car is flying all the way up to the back bumper as they leave turn 4. Ooh, got a little bit squirrely though. Thompson Jr. stays ahead. He's got to keep him at bay and block like hell off of turn number 2. Down the backstretch, Stewart's got the run. He's going to look low. Ooh, 20 got checked up. This opens the door for Wallace. Kenny's going to get right underneath him. Ooh, had to check out. That's a bad spot. Wallace is through, but Stewart built up a big lead there. A valiant effort for the 33 and 81. They're going to get some good finishes out of it, but it won't be for the win. Lap traffic in the form of Ricky Hendrick could play a factor here. It is not a long way between these two, and Stewart is catching him quickly. Wallace would love for him to get held up a bit here. And Hendrick, one of the championship leaders, might play a big role in what happens here with Stewart in the lead of this race. Kenny Wallace, oh so close with 5 laps to go. Was faster that last time by. Dead heat in terms of speed that time through turn 2. Racetrack stays clean. Ooh, Wallace got loose. 4 to go now. Stewart pulls away. Was a little faster that last time thanks to the 2's mishap. And again, out of the throttle a bit. Here's Hendrick. Stewart catching him quickly. And we'll get underneath. Hendrick not going to play much of a factor here. And yeah, Stewart pulling away now. Problem for the 26 as Todd Bodine, who is running really well up to this point, is going to have an engine problem and be forced to come in. Think he might have got a hit there too. And nope, just going to have to get to the bottom of the racetrack. We're still green. 2 to go. Tony Stewart absolutely cruising. White flag in the air here for the 20 of Tony Stewart. Todd Bodine made it back to the pit lane. Last lap. Tony Stewart, every time you write him off, every time that you think it's not his day, he ends up coming out of nowhere. 5 wins already this season. He won one at Bristol last week. Already had a portion of the season where he had captured back-to-back wins. He's going to make it 6 today. Tony Stewart tames the lady in black. He wins it here at Darlington. His 6th of the season as Kenny Wallace comes up just short. Top 5 run for Don Thompson Jr. He'll come home in 5th. A fantastic showing for him. And Ricky Hendrick in the 5. A tough race for him as he is going to come home a lap down. It'll be 33rd for him. And Kurt Busch will be the surefire points leader after today's race. But it is Tony Stewart putting himself in the mix for this title hunt over and over and over again. He takes home the win here today. And as we continue to close up on the final 10 races of the season, he is continuing to rattle off victory after victory, top 5 after top 5. And Stewart is your winner. That'll do it for coverage here from Darlington as Tony Stewart takes home his 6th win of the season. Can anybody stop that 20 car? Race number 25 comes to a close with one of the crown jewels and a fabulous race to go along with it as the 20 is your victor. We'll catch you next week. Race number 26 will be from Texas. It'll be for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 and then the final 10 race stretch for this championship fight. But until then, I'm Caden Reif. We'll catch you then, and as always, have yourself a good one.
It's a long way to the top.